Thank you for being here with us this evening for our June 7th meeting. Ms. Debbie, would you call the roll for us, please?
Mr. Hannigan?
Here.
Ms. Hines?
Here.
Mr. Derriman?
Here.
Mr. Loop?
Mr. Loop is at an LSBA board meeting tonight in Baton Rouge.
Mr. Harrell?
Here.
Mr. Nation? Mr. Jeter?
Here.
Ms. Seeley?
Present.
Ms. Drucker?
Here.
Mr. Betancourt?
Here.
Mr. Womack? Mr. Hersey? Ms. Mullet? Mr. Kuzan?
Here.
Ms. Belisario?
Thank you very much. Would you please rise while we have the pledge and the invocation led by Mrs. Drucker?
Dear Lord, thank you for allowing us to gather today. Please watch over all of our teachers, parents, and students during the summer break. Please give us the wisdom to do your will and to work together so we can solve problems and issues with our state as well as within our school system so that our children are the most important things in our future, that we will be able to provide for them and be the best board that we can be to make the right decisions for our future. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Ms. Drucker. Do we have anyone would like to recognize this evening as a visitor? Okay. All right. Again, I'd like to welcome you to our June 7th meeting, and we'll move on to the public comments portion of our meeting. This evening, we have two people who signed up to speak. The first one is Terry King. If you would come to the podium, please restate your name for us.
Hi, I'm Terry King, and I have a letter here to pass out to all the members of the school board.
Thank
But
you.
if you want to pass it out, see my time's running. You want to stop it? Okay, all right. So we now know that the internal auditor resigned related to the failure of this board to establish a direct and unfettered line of communication.
Mr. King, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I'd like you to know that our comment section is normally on agenda items, and that if you're going to speak
Human
on,
resources meeting, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, this is a
And-
human resources issue.
all right, we normally take those before the administration first.
You called me up. Do you want me to speak or not?
Pardon me?
Do you want me to speak or not? You called my name and asked me to come up and speak.
You signed up to speak. All right, you continue, please.
We now know that the internal auditor resigned related to the failure of this board to establish a direct and unfettered line of communication between the board and the audit function. In addition, she cited an inability to perform her job duties because she was not independent of influence by the superintendent. This facilitated Folse's ability to control communication with the board and direct threats against the auditor's employment with no intervention by the board. It's difficult to fathom that in today's political environment as elected officials, this board is not educated regarding this responsibility. At least one of you has a financial background or is at least financially savvy enough to understand the organizational governance and the risk associated with the lack of independence. It's my understanding that not a single member reached out to the internal auditor during her tenure here. Not a single member asked to view an audit report, although the member of the board was present during her interview and was aware of her hiring. Finally, this board received notification of the resignation of the auditor and the reasons behind her resignation, and not a single member reached out to the internal auditor for more information. It can be reasoned that no board members have any details regarding the audit function and the work that was performed by March 2016 to June 2017, other than what was provided to the board by Folse. The code of ethics under which this board operates does not allow any member to receive or investigate any information provided to you independently of the superintendent. Specifically, item number 11 states, recognizing that the superintendent is the executive officer of the school system, any recommendations and complaints that may have been submitted to me shall be referred to the superintendent for presentation to the board. To further compound matters, Louisiana Revised Statute 17-414-3D states no agency of state government or any of its branches shall supervise, regulate, or audit the school funds provided for in this section except upon request of a city or parish school board. Given that an auditor cannot communicate with you directly without influence from the superintendent, and the board cannot request an audit without upsetting the harmony of the relationship, the only information that you receive is from Mr. Foles himself. This allows him to control all information this board receives, which precludes the communication of any negative information. My 3 minutes is up, so I'll let y'all continue to read it later. But
Thank you, Mr. Key.
you're welcome.
All right, our second person who signed up to speak is Alexis Rozier. Would you state your name,
Oh, I'm
please?
sorry. I am Alexis Roser, a former para. Good evening, school board members, superintendents, and members of the audience. If you would have told me a month ago that I'd be leaving St. Tammany Parish Schools, I would have fainted. If you would have told me a month ago that all I have given of myself these last 4 years would not have been enough to make me finish this school year, well, I would have said you were crazy. Yet here I am, and on May 10th, I resigned at Human Resources and left this job that I love almost as much as my husband and my 2 beautiful, strong sons. I am here because I have concerns that comments documented on my discontinuance of employment that were put there after I signed could negatively impact future employment opportunities. I was abruptly asked to transfer to another school. In the best interest of the students I worked with for 2 years, I knew I needed to finish off the school year with them. I appealed to Sharon Hosh via email and received a call from her offering me a compromise. I would work at CES 4 hours in the morning, then drive straight to MJH for 5th, 6th, 7th period, allowing me to finish the school year with my students. I did just that for 8 days, even though it was a stressful situation because of serious accusations regarding the well-being of students prior to my arrival. In spite of that, I found my own curriculum ideas, art activities, arrived early, and even bought the classroom new toys with my own money. I was determined to be the difference. There were always people coming and going in the classroom, central office, other teachers, other paras. Yet on May 9th, I received an email that I would have to stay at CES at 1 p.m. after students finished lunch or were on buses. As you can imagine, I arrived at MJH at 7th hour. I emailed Sharon Hosh and asked her why she no longer intended to honor this agreement, albeit a verbal one, and I was told to just stay at CES. Everyone was scrambling to right wrongs that had nothing to do with me. I was offered a compromise from someone in authority that didn't honor that word. I felt like the welfare of my students at MJH mattered very little to those in comparison at CES. I could no longer work feeling so betrayed and feeling like I didn't matter. Basically, I have always tried to do the right thing. It has a very high price at times. The emotional strain I have felt is palpable, and yet I would do it again tomorrow for all the great joy I have known from my students these years. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rozier. All right, we'll move on to our next agenda item, which is approval of the minutes from the committee as a whole meeting held on May 10th, 2018. Do I have a motion to accept? Motion by Mr. Womack, a second by Ms. Seeley. Do we have any comments from board members on the minutes? Do we have any comments from the public on the minutes? All right, Ms. Debbie, could you call up the vote, please? Mr. Jeter?
Didn't come up.
Sorry. Still getting used to this new computer system. All right, great. All the votes are in. Motion passes. The minutes are accepted. We'll now move on to our next item, which is in instruction. We have Ms. LeBlanc here to present information on our summer programs.
Good evening,
Good evening.
Superintendent Foles and board members. This evening, I will provide an overview of the programs available this summer. Our summer programs include Academic Summer Program, ASP, which is designed to help students in the 4th and 8th grade improve their achievement in math and reading. Students will receive a total of 60 hours of instruction in math or ELA. Bus transportation is provided, and the sites are Clearwood Junior High and Mandeville Middle. Elementary Summer School is offered for grades 1 through 8. The program is provided for two purposes. One, to enable students who have failed a subject to remove the deficiency and be considered for promotion to the next grade. Two, to enable students to become stronger in a subject in which a need has been identified. Bus transportation is provided, and the sites are Clearwood Junior High and Mandeville Middle. Our A-Cubed Virtual Academy Summer Session is offered for students in 9th through 12th grade to schedule new courses and to enable students who have not passed a subject to remove the deficiency. There are 2 sessions offered, and the testing sites are Lakeshore High and Slidell High. Our Extended School Year Program, ESYP, is for our students with disabilities who have deemed eligible to receive education services in the summer to maintain skills learned during the school year. The services provided are based upon the needs identified through the student's individual education program, their IEP. The sites include Bonnie E. Cole Elementary, Clearwood Junior High, Lyon Elementary, Mandeville Middle, Marigny Elementary, and Pitcher Junior High. Our 21st Century Learning sites are Brock Elementary, Shataima Elementary, and Pineview Middle. The 21st Century Learning programs provide tutoring in reading, writing, math, science, and computer literacy, as well as recreational and social activities. This concludes the program opportunities offered this summer. Seated are a few of the coordinators that run the aforementioned programs. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Ms. LeBlanc. Board members, do we have questions? Mr. Betancourt?
Thank you. Ms. LeBlanc, on some of these that run long enough, I'm assuming there's meals served, whatever, for the children?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Derwin?
Ms. LeBlanc, is there any charges that are assessed to the students or to the parents for participation in this?
In some of the programs. We have our elementary summer school and our AQ virtual learning summer sessions. Students pay. And then for the 21st century programs, there is a fee. that's charged for participation.
Do you have kind of a ballpark range of what those costs may be?
Yes, and to have more insight into that, I have that 21st Century Coordinator, Mrs. Kathleen Huval.
Okay, thank you.
Hi. The fee for 21st Century is actually $75, which helps cover field trips that we take over our 3-week session and any extra activities that we have that are not covered by the money that we have. And they are served lunch and a snack. And like I said, we do quite a few extra activities, and we have speakers come in and programs for the children.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I was just curious, I just wanted to let the public know if there was a cost involved as
Yes,
well.
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Huval.
Ms. Drucker?
Just want to ask, how many students does this involve, these summer programs? Do you have a number?
It varies on different ones. The 21st Century programs, those vary because mostly it entails the students at that school site, but it is not limited to that. Our elementary summer school and academic programs that we have combination, it's almost 400 students.
All right, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Anyone else? All right. Thank you very much, Ms. LeBlanc.
Thank you.
Ms. Huval, thank you for being here this evening. And if we have no other business, this has been a very short meeting, and I'll declare this meeting adjourned, and we'll move into the Business Affairs meeting in just a few moments. Thank you all for being here.
Okay, we'd like to call this meeting to order. This is the Business Affairs meeting, June 7th, and we should do roll call, I think.
Okay.
Oh, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Hannigan?
Here.
Mrs. Hines? Mr. Derman? Mr. Luke is absent. Mr. Harrell? Mr. Nation? Mr. Jeter?
Here.
Mrs. Sealy?
Present.
Ms. Drucker?
Here.
Mr. Bettencourt?
He's here, I think.
Mr. Womack?
I'm here.
Mr. Hersey? Ms. Mollett? Mr. Kuzan? Ms. Belisario?
Okay, thank you. I think we'll dispense with invocation and pledge since we did that in the previous meeting. And by the way, I'm Neil Hennigan. I'm sitting in for Mike Nations, who was unable to be here tonight. Is there recognition of visitors? Anyone like to recognize anyone in the audience? No. Okay, other than Patty Folse.
Once a year visit.
No one is requesting time on the agenda, so we can pass on that. Minutes, approval of minutes for the committee as a whole meeting held May 10th. So it's been moved, seconded. Thank you. Seeley. Seconded by Ms. Drucker. Or vice versa.
She was first, and I was second.
Okay. And I don't, am I supposed to do something here? Or you do that?
No.
Okay. Excuse me.
Just see if anybody has any questions.
Amateur.
If anybody has.
Anyone have any questions from the board? Questions from the public? Okay, so let's please vote. And I'd like to note that Mr. Bettencourt has arrived. Good. You missed the roll call. Okay. All yeas, no nays? It's unanimous. Good, thank you. Okay. Item 4, consideration of employee salary schedule for fiscal year 2018 to 2019. Mr. Jobbian.
Thank you, Mr. Hennigan, members of the board.
We have before you your packet containing the salary schedules for 2018-19. There have been no changes in those schedules. As you are aware, the collective bargaining agreement does call for an additional one step for all of our employees. For our certificated people, it means a $500 increase. And for our non-cert, it's a $350 increase. So it's the same schedule that applied this past year. You do?
We do. Okay, moved and seconded. Beth? Okay, any comments from the public? Any comments from the board? Okay, please vote then. Okay, all have voted and motion carries. Okay, unanimous, thank you. Okay, thank you. Mr. Javier, back to you again. Item A, review recommendations of insurance for property, primary and excess liability, crime, boiler and machinery, workers' compensation, and NFIP.
Thank you, Mr. Hennigan. Again, board members, the Risk Management Department, at my direction, solicited quotations through the request for proposals. Via the official school board publication, the request for proposal included excess automobile, general liability, educators' legal liability, ball and machinery, employee dishonesty, NFIP flood, cyber liability, and workers' compensation insurance. Property insurance was not included in this RFP. If you recall, last year, we got a 2-year rate guarantee, and therefore, we did not go out for proposals this year for the property insurance. Insurance specification packets were distributed to 4 different insurance agencies as a result of the request for proposal. Arthur J. Gallagher of Baton Rouge, Risk Services of Louisiana, Emory James, and Egan Insurance Agency all obtained bid packets. Egan Insurance and Arthur J. Gallagher submitted proposals. Each met all specifications and were submitted timely on May 25th, 2018. I would like to say and thank the board for allowing Mr. Derman to set in with the discussions with Mr. Gaspard and myself, and helping us weed through this process and present this to you tonight. So it's our recommendation to the board that we purchase coverage through Arthur J. Gallagher and Riverlands Insurance Services under the following: excess auto, general liability, educators' legal liability for $300,000. Property, $200 million times $5 million deductible. All of that property insurance total is $730,719.57. Mr. Gaspard, that's the same premium as last year, correct? Correct. Okay. And then the alternates, the cyber liability data breach, Arthur J. Gallagher. Employees blanket crime policy, Arthur J. Gallagher. Ball and machinery, Riverside. NFIP flood insurance, Riverside. And workers' compensation, Arthur J. Gallagher, for a grand total $1,630,031.77. Would like to point out that this was an increase for the auto liability, general liability, and the educators' legal liability package. It's an increase of about $100,000 from last year. This is accountable due to some large losses that we had this past year. This was some previous bus accidents from years back. They were just settled this past year. So I offer that as recommendations for approval.
Thank you, Mr. Javia. So we need a motion.
I'll move.
So moved by Mr. Dearman, seconded by Ms. Seeley. Now, any comments from the board? Any comments? I guess I could, I would like to ask, is there a limit on the employee crime policy cap? $1 million? Yes. Okay. Okay. I know, Mike, you're the expert here. Any comments? You want to share thoughts?
Well, I think when, you know, you're looking at the industry and, you know, the tendencies that exist there, and then you look at our loss ratios and our general liability exposures and automobile exposures, and that's where you see the increase, and that's directly in correlation to losses. So, I mean, I think that's, you know, understandable scenario based on how insurance works. You have more claims, you pay more premium, and that's basically where we are with that. I truly believe that, you know, our flood insurance is standard, you know, as far as rating is concerned, but we've, you know, been more aggressive in that area as, you know, buying more flood insurance, which probably benefits us more than any of the other insurance we probably buy at this point. And also that we maintain our property insurance to maintain the, you know, our eligibility to participate in a disaster with FEMA. So we have the requirement to obtain and maintain. So that's, you know, the objective with that as well. So, I mean, it's when you look at the big picture, as on the property side of it, we insure a small portion of what we actually have, but we meet the requirements that FEMA has put on us to do that. And like I said, when you look at our, you know, the general liability and automobile liability exposures, I mean, it's driven by claims. So, I mean, I think that's the most affordable lines in each area that we have selected and Kurt has identified. So I think it's as best a package as we could hope for at this point.
Mr. Hennigan, if I could make a comment also, this is our first increase in 4 years. We had considerable decreases the last 3 years, and this is our first one is because of these claims that we had occurred. So I think it's a good, probably the best rates we could possibly get.
Okay, good. Any comments from the public? Okay, if not, then let's go ahead and vote. If you could please push whatever buttons. That's because I'm not pushing any buttons. Closed, good, okay. All in favor? Unanimous?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, again, back to you, Mr. Javia, for, I should read this.
The monthly maintenance and custodial report, and before we get on and vote on that, at this time, I would like to introduce our new Assistant Supervisor of Maintenance and Custodial Service, Mr. Jeff Davis. Jeff, stand up for us, please. Thank you. Jeff replaces Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams moved up to Supervisor. They both, all of our maintenance department doing a great job for us. So that packet is there for you. If you have any questions, they're here to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you. Any comments from the board? Questions? Okay, thank you.
Monthly risk management report,
Yes.
Mr. Gaspard is here if you have any questions.
You know, not so much a question. I would hope, Mr. Gaspard, we get an annual report on our injuries if we could. I think we've done that the last couple of years with the trend up, down.
We will continue to do that, yes, sir.
Good, thank you.
And our monthly transportation report, Mr. Alfonso and his staff is here if you have any questions.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Durman.
Mr. Alfonso, how are we lining up for our fleet of routes, or with all of our bus drivers, you know, being retirees and then replacing them and then shuffle, the end of the year shuffle where everybody transfers routes, whatever? How are we looking? Are we capable of having a full I guess,
Yes, sir.
having them completely filled, I guess is what I'm trying to ask.
Yes, sir, we'll have them completely filled. We're in the 5th round right now, and I think we have only four, it's 4 routes available. We're in the 5th round. So we should be fine. If they transfer out, that's when we'll go to our buses that we own and put drivers on them. But we'll be complete, 100% filled.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Mr. Betancourt.
Thank you, Mr. Hennigan. Mr. Alfonso, on the second page, number 4, it talks about that pre-service course. Is that just one time from June 11th to 13th? Because it says all employees in attendance. If somebody's not able to attend, is there another scheduled course or there?
No, sir, we offer that 5 times a year. It's for all new employees. It's a state mandated course that if you come and you transport children, you have to take that course. So we have Andre Roux trained to give that course for us. And also it's given activity drivers for schools, coaches and teachers and moderators. They're welcome to take it too because they transport children.
Okay, thank you.
Good. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
And Mr. Jabia, thank you. Thank you. Let's move on. Number 6, construction. Ms. Tipton.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Hennigan. I just have a short construction report this evening. At Slidell High, demolition is nearing completion in the new kitchen area and the girls' side locker room, and they are saw cutting the existing slab for the plumbing and other structural needs. Sheet rock is being finished and painting is scheduled to start for the interior of the pupil appraisal building. Architects are working on developing the design documents for the additions at Madisonville Elementary and Mandeville High. Modulars are scheduled for delivery starting tomorrow at Madisonville Elementary, and modulars have been moved from Mayfield to Mandeville High and are being set in place. Materials have been delivered and work is scheduled to start for Abney Elementary re-roofing of the gym and the classroom wing. Materials and work are expected on site at Carolyn Park for re-roofing of the classroom wing before the end of this month. Work has begun on site for the Mandeville Elementary roofing scope. Work is scheduled to start next week on Mandeville Junior High roofing. Materials are expected on site at Pineview Middle for re-roofing of the band computer area toward the middle of this month. And the contractor has pressure washed the building at Clearwood Junior High and is scheduled to begin masonry repair and waterproofing. The roof has been pressure washed and repaired, and the contractor is scheduled to begin placing primer on the Whispering Forest metal roof. And work is scheduled to begin at Creekside Junior on their classroom wing also. Site work improvements at North Shore High, Mandeville High, and Salmon High are underway, and work is scheduled to start at Covington High and Slidell High for their site improvements.
Good, thank you. Any questions for Ms. Tipton? Well, let me ask a question about Mandeville High. So the schematics are done. When do you expect that you'll be able to go out for bids? Is that like 6 months from now?
We expect it to be for the 3-story classroom building. We expect those drawings to probably be done by the end of the year and out for bid maybe early part of next year. There will be a couple of smaller projects that will support that project, some additional limestone parking, and we're also considering how to best get the temporary modulars to support the construction into place. So those projects may bid ahead of the 3-story building.
Okay, and then figure maybe 2.5 years of construction, and then
It'll be at least 2 years of construction with the 3-story building, yes, sir.
Okay, good. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Kuzan.
Is there any information on parking lot at Brock Elementary School? Do we have any information yet on the parking lot at Brock Elementary School?
No, sir, not to my knowledge.
Okay. And Ms. Strucker.
Ms. Tipton, for Madisonville Elementary, the timetable, will that track the same as the Mandeville High timetable that you just discussed with
Yes,
me?
very similar. We expect it to be ready for going out for bid, depending on how the drawings and the governmental agency review goes, but towards the end of this year, first part of this coming year.
Okay, thank you.
Good. Any other questions for Ms. Tipton? Good. Okay, well, thank you, Ms. Tipton. Moving on, number 7, Business Affairs, Mrs. Prevost.
Thank you, Mr. Hannigan. The April financial report was sent to you electronically, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
I think that's a government requirement that I find totally useless, but that's okay. How about, excuse me, the next one, item B, monthly purchasing report?
The purchasing report was sent to you electronically, and Ms. Stevens is here to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions, comments? Thank you. Okay, good, moving on. Number 8, end-of-year review, Superintendent Fultz. Thank you, Ms. Prevost, by the way.
Good evening, board members. Thank you all for the opportunity to share with you some of the good news of our school system from this last year. You know, sometimes I think we all, myself included, get caught up when dealing with things that are not as pleasant as some of the other things, and we kind of focus on those and sometimes forget all that we should be thankful for and everything that we've accomplished. So tonight, that's what I want to share with you. I know for many of us, it's been a very long day. We started early this morning with the active shooter drill at Lakeshore High School, so I will try to move through the slides pretty quick, but I also want to give them their due justice of the year that we've had and the things that we have accomplished. How many of you remember a year ago what happened? Everybody remembers? Remember we started here, then the power went out? Yes. You remember? And then we went over to the atrium, and after 2 or 3 slides, the power went off over there. So hopefully this year, we will have weathered the storm and everything that goes with that and accomplished many things with that. So tonight, we'll be able to share this with you without hopefully losing any power at all. We started our administrators conference this year. We released the theme for the year. As you know, we meet at the Train Tech Center, and it's a way for us to recharge everyone, share the theme of the year, bring in speakers, talk about policies and procedures, and make sure that we're ready as a school system to start the new year fresh and ready to go. And we had a really great one last year, and I can tell you that Regina and her crew are already wrapping up the one for this year, and the theme will be released soon, and I think each of you will enjoy the theme and everything that goes along with that. This year we tried something new. On the Saturday before the start of school, we knew many people would be out buying school supplies and be into the local schools. So we asked all of our principals and assistant principals to put on their T-shirts, their Together T-shirts, as well as school board members, because many of you did, and go out to the community and make yourself known and run into parents and run into teachers and run into employees and students and take some pictures and share with us as well. So we got a ton of good pictures from all across St. Tammany Parish as parents and others were getting their children ready for the start of school. You know, that Saturday before school starts is a very exciting time in our parish, so we wanted to be out there and be a part of it, and that's what we did. Then always, you cannot ever beat the first day of school. This was my 45th first day of school, 12 times as a student in this school system, and then 33 times as an employee of the school system. So my 45th first day of school was spent at Mandeville Elementary School as well as Mayfield Elementary School. And as you can see, they were really happy to see their friends and see their teachers and their administrators, and it's really, really fun to get out and visit the schools, and we've already made our schedule for next year coming up, and it will be just as exciting as this year was. And then right after that, we were followed by a tremendous award received by one of our employees. Mr. John Wondergem received from the Louisiana Department of Education at a really nice banquet that we were able to attend, the H. Norman Siraj III Service Award recipient, Mr. John Wondergem. John is an amazing, amazing family man. He's the administrative assistant at Madisonville Junior High School, and he and his wife founded Royal Family Kids Camp. And in the last 15 years of their marriage, they have fostered 11 different children in their homes. He is a leader in our schools. He is a leader in our communities. And for one of our own to be honored and recognized with this award, it not only talks about what you accomplish in the classroom at the school, but talks about what you accomplish in the community and giving back. I mean, perfect example of what we talk about every child every day is John Wondergem. And to get this award and to be there with him for that was certainly something else. Everybody remembers the solar eclipse and everything that went along with that. I really, really wish we had video of Mr. Jabbia when he put on his solar glasses for the first time outside by our cars out there. But it was really fun, and You know, you would think something as easy as a solar eclipse would go real smooth, but there was a lot of different opinions on what you should do, how you should handle it. I think we kind of took the middle road there, and we accomplished a lot. The kids were able to get out and enjoy something that, you know, takes place every so often and be a part of it. And you can see by this picture that the ones that did that as well. This is our second year of giving out the class of 20. Last year was 2029. This year is the class of 2030 T-shirts. It is so much fun to go give those T-shirts out and then to go back into schools and see them wearing them all during the years. As you remember, the T-shirt goes home, but also at the same time a letter goes home to the parents saying, welcome to our school system. We want you to be involved. We want you to be a part of it. And then their student gets a T-shirt that says class of 2030 for this year. So it's just hard to believe. But it was a great group, and they're excited. So we went to 2 schools ourselves, and they were handed out across all of our kindergartners. How many were there, Miss Lane? Over 2,000 some kindergartners as well. How many, Virginia? 2,500 kindergartners got the T-shirt. And we also had them all take their picture. We have one big picture with all the students in their T-shirts as well. So it was fun, and we'll continue that new tradition next year. And then every year, another tradition that's so very important, I think, to our school system is the Ray Alfred Community Reception, which welcomes our minority educators. Each one of us that had the opportunity to work with or serve with Ray Alfred knows what a great man he was and what a tremendous contribution he made to this school system. And I think I told you this last year, but it's true again. Many, many days, things that I work with, Ray Alfred is in my head, in my ear, telling me things that I should do and I should think about. And I value the time that I have with him, and I know you do as board members as well. And I think it's important for us as a school system to continue to honor his legacy as well as to welcome our minority educators. And that's what we did with that. Started a new award, the Superintendent's Inspiration Award, and last year it was given to Cole Freeman. If you've kept up with Cole's career this year, he was drafted and is playing for the Washington Nationals in minor league baseball. And he is a great example and a representative of our school system. His family is tremendously supportive of our system. And we're going to look at someone for next year. We have a couple people in mind, so we want to keep this going. But it's an important opportunity for us to recognize people that have excelled in the classroom as well as on the athletic fields as well as in their community, and inspiring others to do the same and giving more and giving back. And that's certainly what Cole has done, so we were happy to do that. Everyone loves the Parish Fair. Mr. Mike Derman was the Grand Marshal. He rode in the car and with his grandson waving there as well. And so it was a great time, and it's just another opportunity for a tradition that for this school system that's been going on for many years, is to recognize what the people at the fair do and recognize how the fair impacts every child every day. And we're happy to do that, and it was certainly an honor to be a part of that. Then we recognized our Teachers of the Year. You know, each year we do that. You can see here the 3 Teachers of the Year were from Abita, Brock, and Salmon, and then our 3 Principals of the Year, great group from Shataima, Bayou Lacombe, and Lakeshore High School. A great group that represents all the teachers and all the principals of our school system in such a positive manner. Then we had our 4 fundraisers. This one was for the Miracle League of North Shore. The Miracle League provides a field for students to go to. Many of our special needs students use that field at night and weekends to play baseball, and we're trying to partner with them to even grow that so that these fields can be used during the school day as well. So this was our first of 4 fundraisers, and if you've never been to a Miracle League softball game, once you go, you will be mesmerized by these students, the special needs students there, as well as the other students that help be a part of the Miracle League and help do the coaching and the playing. And we really are happy to be a part of that. And then we found out a year ago that I was elected as president of the NUFSED conference. Many of you have been to a NUFSED conference. You know that NUFSED, National Federation of Urban and Suburban School Districts, is 25 school districts, much like us, large systems like us, with many of the same challenges that we have. So to be honored to be chosen as president-elect for that organization, and many of you have attended these conferences, and you realize what a great group of educators these are, as well as school board members. I think it would be very beneficial for our school system. So much so that we will be hosting the October Nuff Said Conference in St. Tammany Parish. We are working really hard on that, preparing for that. We have school visits lined up. We have our speakers lined up. We are taking these people on a Honey Island Swamp tour. Many of these, if you know them, many of these have never been to Louisiana before. So the opportunity for them to come to our school system, see what we're going to have going on, showcase what we're going on to school systems across the country will be very, very important. And I know Regina and her staff have been working really, really hard to be prepared for that. And we will be presenting to them at the executive board this summer, and then we will be ready for the big visit in October. And I encourage all of you to be a part of that. And you don't know it yet, but each of you will have responsibilities along the way, so we will be sharing that with you as well. A read for the record, we continue to do that on that special day. This year we went to Folsom Elementary School as well as to Maroney Elementary School to read a book and just share the opportunity to get out of the office and get into the schools and enjoy all the many things that go on to the schools and to appreciate the students and the teachers and the administrators that are there. Once a year we have our Teacher of the Year luncheon. This is an opportunity for these teachers for one day out of the year, not to have lunch duty, not to have any kind of responsibilities, but just to come and be treated to a nice lunch. It's pretty much just the Teachers of the Year and school board members and a couple of our staff members, no principals, no administrators. And we just bring them up. We have a PowerPoint slide for each one of them. We have a little goodie bag for them. We take their picture with their school board member, as you can see there. And this year we did little all-star cards for them as well. One of the most important things we do, and get tremendous feedback from the principals in appreciation for what we do. And we encourage the principals of the school to honor and recognize these Teachers of the Year each and every day at their school. And we want to do it once a year here at Treen for the Teachers of the Year luncheon, and we will certainly continue that as well. Red Ribbon Week has been going on for many years in this school system, and no exception this year. I think this is a picture at Covington Elementary on the football field, as well as all the other opportunities that go along with that, so it's an exciting time to do that. Also very important is to recognize our veterans. These are employees that are of our school system that are now working, giving back into their school system as a veteran and as well as an educator. So we, once a year, thank them, bring them to a meeting, bring them into the atrium and say thank you for your service and thank you for being a part of our education community. Everybody remembers the snow day in St. Tammany Parish, so we had that and we kind of built that into the calendar. Thank goodness we didn't need hurricane days, so we were able to use our snow day instead, so that worked out well is there. So that's a pretty picture of our building that we got from there. One of the most special, in my opinion, things we do outside of the classroom setting is the Caring Angels. Caring Angels is a once-a-year opportunity for us to buy gifts and to share these gifts with the kids in transition, the students that are classified as homeless, if you will, in our school system. The feedback we've gotten from that has been tremendous. This year, more than ever, we had community people donating to us as well. They heard about it, and they wrote checks, and they donated. So in addition to be able to give the gifts, the Christmas gifts to the kids on the high school level that qualified in the KIT program, this year for the first time ever, we were able to give to their siblings as well. And I received a note from one of the students, handwritten note, and the note said to me, before this year I used to hate Christmas, and now for the first time I cannot wait for Christmas next year. And that's because we as a group reached out, gave back, and this was monies that were raised and given by each employee in this school system, in this office, and many of you board members, and as I said, community members. So we collect all the gifts, then we share these at the high schools, and the people that they work with at the school, it's all anonymous, and we get a little list from them of what they'd like for Christmas, and then we give it to them right before the Christmas holidays in a way that is not embarrassing in any way, but a way that they can appreciate getting a gift. And some of the gifts will break your heart. You know, when you hear about, I just want a jacket, or I just want some warm socks, and the things that we take for granted each and every day. So this is a great opportunity. We're building it every year, and I cannot wait to this Christmas to be able to do again for these students who maybe one day didn't like Christmas, now look forward to Christmas. So I'm really proud of that and what we've accomplished with that. This is important. Sometimes this seems to get overlooked, but it's certainly important. The many awards that we received for financial reporting, and this year we received for the 29th consecutive year, this past school year, this Excellence in Financial Reporting Award, and you can see the staff of people that make that happen each and every day in our school system, and I couldn't be prouder of a group of people that work harder to make sure that we do everything right in our financial department. Our next fundraiser was the Children's Museum. You've heard me say before that this is probably the organization that will have the most lifelong impact on the students in this school system. Students that are giving to this fundraiser will receive the benefits for the rest of their life as well as their children's life. And I'm excited about the museum and where they're going and where they're heading with that as well. Dorable and her group do a great job with the What to Do After Graduation family event. It was held at Salmon High School. It's an opportunity for parents and students to come together. We had more booths than we've ever had. The entire gym was packed with booths and presenters and information from career, from colleges, from junior colleges, from different opportunities from the military. All these events, all in one place where a parent and a student can go and say, I'm thinking about what I want to do after high school. Here's some options that are available to you. And it was a great night. The gym was packed, and many, many people received information that I know helped them make decisions for the next couple years in high school, as well as to make decisions as they enter either college or the military or the workforce. You can see a great group of board members join me as we receive from the East St. Tammany Chamber of Commerce their Community Spirit Award, an opportunity for our school system to be recognized in a manner that tells the community and others that we're part of this community, that we realize our obligation in this community to give back, to be more than just an educational facility, but to be a community partner. And to think where we've come in these 8 or 9 years and to receive this Community Spirit Award from this Chamber of Commerce is important to me, and I know that the people that were there to help celebrate that night with me were just as proud, as you can see by the looks on their face, for the award that we received as well. We have our annual Mardi Gras parade, and we are lucky that they come in front of our building, so we just have to step right out into the yard right there, and the parade comes right by, and we receive a bunch of different floats, throws, and beads and candies and goodies, and you can see the students get big time excited about it and decorate appropriately and dress appropriately for that and have as much fun as we do. And then many of you got to attend the museum opening on Coop Drive. As you know, we've been a huge part of that, and we have students going through that museum on a daily basis now on field trips. And if you've been there and you've seen the students there, as I have, they are loving it, and the opportunity to grow it and grow our participation in it as a school system will continue, but really proud of our contributions that we made to that. Another thing that I'm very proud of is how we celebrate Black History Month, and how we, as a social media group with Meredith and her group, have done a great job honoring and recognizing these African American educators that have made a huge difference in our school system. You can see we were able to honor and recognize our current board members as well with this group, and they certainly are carrying on the tradition of these other African American as well. And we're already talking about what we're going to do next year. But I can tell you, I got some tremendous feedback from family members of these people and people that are going to school with these, and just thanking me and saying thank you for recognizing their efforts, and thank you for letting others know the very important role they played in the success of this school system. So I'm really proud of that, and it really worked out well. We do our elementary fitness meet every year, and every year we get really close to winning that state championship. And one year we're going to do that in Baton Rouge, but this is held at Lakeshore High School, and you can see the students love it. We do a parade of champions where they all come in. We play all the march-in music. The stadium on the other side has a bunch of parents there on a Saturday, and they're cheering for their students and others. And then at the end of the day, we honor and recognize the ones that win, and they go on to Baton Rouge for the state meet, and some of them have done very well at the state meet. And this is just another opportunity to do something outside the classroom that can impact the students as well. On a more somber note, we spent much of our school year dealing with school safety and security. You may recall that right after the Parkland, Florida shooting, we put this letter out to our parents and to our community, reminding them how important school safety and security is, reminding them if they see something to say something. We immediately met with every chief of police and the sheriff, and we continue to meet with them constantly to work with them and to make sure that we're all on the same page working together. You know, the first meeting we had after that was every chief and the sheriff, and we shared with them what we were doing, what we were thinking. They shared with us. And out of that has come the School Safety and Security Committee that you've worked with. We've certainly met with a lot of students on this. My advisory panel, we will continue to work with them. Other students that have spoken at this podium in the last couple of months, I've reached out to them, and I will be meeting with them over the summer as well. So I think it's really, really important that we continue to do this. The active shooter drill happened today. This board, the media was all over this today. I was so proud to be able to say that this board has provided the funding for the school resource officers at each school, and to be able to tell the media today that this board has funded the mental health providers at each and every school. And I can tell you, talking to the media, they were impressed that we had made this obligation and we had made this commitment to the students and the parents and the educators in our school system. So I thank you for that. And I know that this is something that will continue to be number one on our radar for much time to go. Along the same lines, we received the Crime Stoppers Excellence in School Safety and Prevention Award. Very, very important award to our school system. I think there were probably 500 or 600 people in attendance at this luncheon in New Orleans. And the thing that I thought that struck me the most, that many of the people in the audience were not of our education family. They were in law enforcement, they were in business, they were in military. And for them to hear what we were doing as a school system and the success rate that we had had was important to me. And I've heard back from many in the business world that saw this and said, wow, I never knew. What a great honor, what a great award. So the opportunity to do it, first of all, to do the right things, to receive the award, and then secondly, to be recognized that so the people in our community, in our business world, and the people that we depend on each and every day to support us know that we are on top of this. You know, one of the comments I made to the media today when they asked how it felt to be there and to be at that active shooter drill, I said, well, I think we have one or two things. We can bury our head in the sand and act like nothing will ever happen, or we can be proactive and provide as many tools as we can to our educators, to our schools, to our principals, to our parents and our students. And we as a board and as a staff, we choose to be proactive. And we choose to do everything we can to make sure that this never happens in our parish, and if it does, that we will be as prepared as possible. So this was a great award. It was motivated us. It really was a nice opportunity to be with these people and to be recognized for the work that we've done with that. Our next fundraiser was Safe Harbor. Safe Harbor serves women and children who are victims of domestic abuse, and certainly happy to donate to their cause as part of our community. And then we celebrated Pitcher Junior High School 40th anniversary. Mayor Mike Cooper brought words, and as you can see, there was some great singing going on and a great celebration. It was really nice. They brought back students from all of the decades, and they came and they shared with them what it was like during their time at Pitcher Junior High. Then they did music to the years that they were there, and they all spoke, and there was a PowerPoint. So it was a really nice opportunity to honor and recognize a superintendent that did so much in the school system, and William Pitcher Junior High, and what they've meant to this community and to this parish for so many years. I tell you this all the time, if you've never been to the Special Olympics, you're missing one of the greatest opportunities in this school system to go and to see these students competing, having fun, to see the Bulldog buddies and the other buddies that are there, to be a part of that with them is certainly very important. And I can't really think of another example that says every child every day better than this right here. So I would encourage you, if you ever get the opportunity to go, please do that. And please know how important it is to these students to have other people out there cheering them on and supporting them. A lot of work goes in that for the high school level as well as the junior high level. And to be a part of that is certainly something that's very special to us as well. We finished our second year of our Superintendent Student Advisory Panel. We touched on some really tough topics. We got a lot of good information from them. As I mentioned to you when we brought them before the board, they hit the ground running. The first year was kind of growing and everybody was meeting each other and kind of feeling each other out. But after the first year, it was easy to see that the ones that were coming back for their second year were much more comfortable. And I can only imagine what next year will be like when some of them are starting their third year in our advisory panel. And we have some really important topics to discuss. And I know in a very positive, respectful manner, they will share with us very candidly what their thoughts and ideas are and what we can do to be better for our students and for our schools. And I'm excited about the opportunity to work with them. I'm excited to meet the incoming freshmen that will be joining the group, as well as working with the others that will be returning for their next year. We honored our Students of the Year, as well as our Support Employees of the Year at a meeting in Slidell at the Brooks Curriculum Center, and you can see what a great group of people these were. And to be able to honor the support people that do the work for us each and every day, as well as our Substitute of the Year, as well as our 3 Students of the Year. It was an amazing group of students, and so much amazing that one of them was actually the Student of the Year for the entire state of Louisiana. And it came from an elementary. I don't think we've ever had an elementary winner before on the state level. So to have an elementary winner there, to do that was really, really exciting. And just another opportunity, just like it was with John Wonder Gym, to be on a state stage, if you will, to share with the state of Louisiana and other educators what is going on in our school system, the quality of the students we have, the quality of the administrators, the quality of the parents and others that go along with that. So you can tell Zoe was excited. Her mom and dad were super excited, as well as her administrators there. And this is right outside of the museum in Baton Rouge that we took this picture right after she won. So we're going to feature Zoe a lot this year as we go through the school year. And I know that she will be a great representative for all of our students as we move forward as well. And then we had Miss Janine Barnes, who was chosen. She's Line Elementary's principal, and she was chosen as a state principal of the year semifinalist for this year. And Janine has done a great job at Line Elementary and is totally, totally committed to the students there. And I was proud to see her honored and recognized for what she's accomplished there as well. Then it takes us to what I call the best week of the year in the school system. 8 graduations in 6 days. Take a look at this. We graduated over 2,400 new graduates and brought them into the family of this school system. We had over 45,000 people watch our graduations on Facebook. 45,000 views on Facebook of our graduation. And many of you went to graduations. Have you ever seen a better group of well-behaved and impressive students? Each and every graduation stood on its own. Each and every student that came across that stage looked you in the eye, shook our hands, said thank you, totally, totally recognized and honored and represented our school system in such a positive way. And I tell people all the time, if you've never been to a high school graduation, you don't know what you're missing. So I'm excited about that, and to work through Southeastern with that and the work they do with us, to be able to do the live feeds off their soundboard, to use their cameras, and to be able to do this out into the community. Received a lot of nice feedback from military people that could not come. Received a phone call from a lady who told me that her mom was sick in the hospital, and they actually hooked up the laptop at the foot of her mom's bed in the hospital, and she was able to watch her grandson graduate live. And that wouldn't have happened without us doing that. So I'm really happy with that. Second year we've done it, and I know that we'll continue to grow with that as well. Teacher Appreciation Week is certainly an important time for our school system, and now more than ever we're trying to reach out and make sure that teachers are appreciated for the work that they do. Also important to reach out and make sure our volunteers know how important they are to our school system and everything that we do as well. We honor and recognize them. We allow each school to bring one volunteer and to say thank you for them for what they do as well. 13 National Merit Finalists. You know, all the time we hear, you know, you need to compare yourself outside Louisiana, and this is an opportunity for us to do that. These 13 National Merits are very, very important to our school system and what we represent each and every day, and you got to meet many of them, and I feel confident we will continue to grow this number next year as well. Celebrating the arts. Many of you have grown up with me watching Dejan Richardson. She's been to many of our school board meetings. She's been to Poetry Out Loud reader for many years from Covington High School. She actually won the state championship in the poetry out loud competition. And then you can see we had our Doodle for Google's champion again, came from Lake Harbor. And then the shoes, Vans cultural finalists came from Fontainebleau High School. So just another way to reach out in our community and make sure we have the most well-rounded students as possible. STEM is important to us. We do many activities during the day, as well as doing activities on weekends for students to be able to reach out and with their interest and work with that as well. Robotics. Everywhere we go now, we're making robotics presentations, and people continue to call back. Ms. Belisario mentioned to me today about the robotics at a summer camp. And everywhere we send these robotics teams, people are mesmerized by what they're doing, and they just bring attention to themselves, and the kids love sharing what they're doing, and it's really impressive to the community and others that we have students that are so smart and are doing these kind of things. Our next one was the suicide prevention with STOPS, and that was our donation that we made from them and that very important organization. I have never been to a nicer ribbon cutting than Pearl River High School. The band was playing, the cheerleaders were there, people were clapping, the music was playing, the hallway was beautiful. We had many community people there as well. And you can see this is a beautiful school. And the work that was done there and the fashion, it came in under time, under budget. So it's really something that we're proud of. And I can tell you, those students and those teachers and those administrators at Pearl River High are super proud of their school and what we accomplished there. So I love their ribbon cutting. It was great. LSBA Video Awards, we won for the 4th straight year. Every time we go to LSBA, we submit a video presentation, and we won for the 4th straight year. Just another opportunity to share the good news of our school system throughout the state of Louisiana. We also had many successes outside the classroom, whether it be in football, soccer, weightlifting. All these ways are just opportunities for us to make sure that students have a chance to do what they want to do and be what they want to be, both inside and outside the classroom. I read something the other day in a Twitter feed that said, you cannot wait for others to tell your story. You must tell your story. Now more than ever, it is our obligation, our responsibility to tell our own story. We cannot wait for other people to tell it for us. And look at these numbers, and look what a great job we are doing telling our story. Under Facebook, over 4,000 likes, over 1 million video views, over 1 million people have viewed the things that are going on. Our Twitter account has had a 35% increase. Instagram has had a 138% increase. Our YouTube videos, which showcase all of our students, have increased by over 240,000 views. We have our app has been downloaded this year alone over 4,000 times. And look underneath the picture, St. Tammany Parish Public School System is the most followed Louisiana school district on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. I'm really mad about 2nd place on Instagram, so I'm working with Meredith on that. But take a look at that. The most followed. Again, we cannot wait for anyone to tell our story. We must tell our own story. And that's what we're doing, and that's what people want to hear. People in this community, in this school system, want to hear the good news of our school system. I truly believe that, and we have an obligation to do that, and we're going to continue to do that. Our partnerships, this was hilarious. I love this picture. This is when Alvin Kamari from the New Orleans Saints showed up to the school. They had no idea he was coming. He didn't bring any kind of entourage. He didn't have any group. He pulled up in a car, him and this other guy. He jumped out of the car. They walked into the gym, and the students went crazy when they saw him. So he spent the day there with them. The Pelicans, the Pelicans are hot, and they're doing well. So we're continuing to work with them. Chevron is a huge partner of ours in so many different ways, not only with contributions in money, but they give personnel, and we appreciate that. And then our partnership with the North Shore Technical Community College. I mean, there's not a more important partnership right now in this state than the partnership that we have with Will Wainwright and the community college, and I'm certainly proud of that. We take every opportunity we can to showcase them and what they're doing, and I've never been to a single event and Regina has as well, where Dr. Wainwright has not sung the praises of our school system and our partnerships together. So I'm really, really thankful for that and what we did. We talked about getting the word out. We talked about making community connections. We talked about these fast facts. And if you remember last year, this is what we put out. This is an important slide that we shared. Economic engine, good stewards of the taxpayer. We had the highest bond rating of any school board in the state of Louisiana. I think it's important for people to continue to realize that state funding goes down, local funding continues to go up. And that's the challenge for all of us and as our community to help us get where we need to be to do what we want to do. So we shared that with them. We shared that with the community. We shared our success rate. We're preparing students for success in the future, the 2,400 graduates, the workforce, over 15,000 dual enrollment credit hours that we earn, over 5,000 industry-based certifications. We put the word out in these flyers that went home to these parents. And this was the district fact sheet at the top. Everybody got a district fact sheet, followed by at a later date, as you can see below, a school fast facts sheet that was sent home. So the first one was big picture of the whole school system, what we accomplished. The second one that came after that was your individual school and what we had accomplished at your school, things that you were proud of, things that you were offering, the success that you would have in the areas that we were working on. Very well received, and another opportunity to get the word out to everyone as we go along. In my speech that I gave in the graduations, I ended with these three things: always be kind, always be grateful, and always take the time to say thank you. Always be kind, always be grateful, and always take the time to say thank you. So let me close by saying thank you to these groups. First off, to our school board members and the work that you do each and every day for our school system. I've told you this before, and it's the truth. The relationship, the working relationship we all have is why we're successful. We could not do it if we did not work together, and I appreciate each and every one of you. I've appreciated the leadership of Ms. Mullett as president of this last year and working with her as well. So I thank you all for your contribution to Every Child, Every Day. The work that you do in the community, the work that you do promoting our school system, working with issues that come along our way. There can not any better representatives of our school system than the 15 of you, and I thank you for that. For this central office staff, this is always our Christmas picture that we take. I remind them all the time that even though you're not in the classroom, what you're doing each and every day in this building and our other satellite buildings is impacting what's happening in the classroom each and every day. And I truly believe that. And I know if you brought a principal or assistant principal in here, they would tell you the same thing, because of what we do here helps them at their individual schools. So I thank them for the work they do every day. We started the year together with STPPS and our administrators thing. We ended the year today in an active shooter drill with all of our principals there as well. And through this year, the things that we've challenged ourselves with, the things we've been challenged by, we definitely have indeed weathered any storms that have come our way. And together, we have had a great year in this school system and making a difference for every child every day. To my family, I thank you for everything that you've done and the commitment that you made to me and allowed me to do this job. Patty and I, over the last 14 months, have been pretty busy. We've had a high school graduation, a college graduation, 2 weddings, and 1 perfect grandson. So I will close with that. Again, I thank you all so much for everything you've done for me and for our administrators. I want to say a special thank you as well to Pete, Regina, and Mike, the 3 of them that supervise all the different departments. There's no way in this world that this job could get done anyway without those 3 people and the work that they do each and every day representing each of us. And I know as superintendent that I'm truly blessed to have them as well as each of you. So thank you all for a great year, and looking forward to doing it over again really quick. Thank you very much.
You know, Trey, I think I can speak on behalf of the board that we congratulate and thank you for all the great work you have done, and your administration and the teachers and the employees of the school system. This is, I can't tell you the number of times I have sat back awestruck at what you've accomplished, and just want to thank you. Okay. Closing. Announcements from the board president.
Thank
Ms.
you, Mr.
Mullen.
Hennigan. Appreciate that. These are announcements. There will be a special board meeting immediately following this meeting for supervisor of special education interviews. The regular board meeting will be held next Thursday, June 14th at 7 p.m. There will be a special board meeting immediately following the June 14th meeting for the purpose of the superintendent's performance review. And please check your board docs for handouts. Very important meeting dates, meeting notices, a couple of changes. So check those before you close out. And that is all. And thank
Okay.
you, Mr. Falls. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay, that being said, declare the meeting adjourned.